Hello family and friends, it's Rob the Sapper gardener representing Essayons Family Garden, and today is really nice. It's a unseasonably warm winter day. I think the high is going to be up to about 50, so we're going to get out and we're going to prune some of our fruit trees today and hopefully finish up tomorrow. Today we're going to do our apple trees and our pear trees, so let me show you the tools we're going to use. And then we'll go out and we'll show you on one of the apple trees the things that we look for when we're going out pruning. So for us, it's just a few simple tools. We've got a pair of pruning shears here, a long handle, so that we can get in and reach into the limbs to cut any that we're pruning off at the base. And we also have a set of pole pruners. These will let us get those high limbs. One of the things we're going to do is we've got one apple tree that's got some completely vertical branches, and those we're going to cut off or cut back because we don't need apples way up in the sky that we can't reach. Our apple trees are dwarf varieties intentionally so that we can keep the fruit close to the ground where we can more easily get it. And some people do not use this. We use occasionally, if we cut large limbs off, we use a pruning sealer. If we just snip off little small limbs and suckers, sometimes we don't use it, but we'll take it with us just in case. If we have to cut a large limb, we'll have it ready. And we always try to clean our pruning shears off with alcohol before we use it and before we move from one large area to the next, in case there are any diseased limbs or trees we cut off. We can give it a quick wipe down with alcohol and some tissue. And that's pretty much all that we'll need today. So we'll head out there and we'll talk a little bit more about pruning as we go along. So when you get ready to start pruning your trees, the first thing you're going to do, and I have to admit we did not do this last year because you can see we have a lot of suckers, and I mentioned this in our previous video. Ones like this you don't want up in your branches. These suckers are going to draw off your energy, your moisture, your nutrients from the rest of the fruit-bearing trees. So these you want to cut off, starting as low as you can. This one, if it came out enough, possibly could be a branch, but just because of the way it's grown up, we're going to treat it like a sucker too. So we're going to start cutting, and I'll actually show you. Let me bring you in a little closer. When we cut these branches off, sorry about the rough treatment. When we get ready to cut these branches off, you'll see there's a little wrinkled area right there. Some people think, let me get you a better shot. Some people think you want to cut it as close as you can to the tree, but you want to be careful not to cut into that. You actually want to cut a little bit back from that, leave a little nub, because that area right there will heal up the best if you cut above the wrinkled area. So you don't want to cut down too close to the tree. You want to leave a little bit of area. So I'm going to start cutting these. I'll let you guys see a little bit of it, and then we're going to turn the camera off and we're going to get to work. And you can use your pole saw or SK1, let me get the pruners, or you can just use regular pruners. If it was high up in the tree, I'd use the pole pruners. I call it a pole saw, the pole pruners. Here you go, buddy. But we're not that high up now, so we're going to use these. So I'm going to start down here. sure I'm a little bit back from that little wrinkle area. I'm going to cut that right off. And once you cut these off, there's 3 basic things that you can do with them that we use on our homestead. First, these will make great cuttings. You can cut this into 6 to 8 inch pieces, put them down in some potting soil, put them in a nice area like a garage, or if you have an indoor basement, put those in there, and then you can start new fruit trees from these cuttings. Second thing you can do, which is what we're going to do today, is take these, add them to our hugel mounds, cover them up, making sure that the cut area is not below the soil. If it's below the soil, there's a chance that it'll set root and start growing. But we'll add these to areas that we're building up our hugel mounds as bulk matter, and let it grow up. And the third thing, which we do a lot, these are apple trees, apple tree wood. So you can also cut these up, put them in a place to dry, use them when you're grilling, smoking meats, because apple tree wood is one of the ones that we use when we're smoking, along with pecan wood. So I'm going to pass this to my trusted assistant, SK1, and he's going to go and sit that on our wood pile with the cut end up, and then when we get ready to smoke, we'll use that, but the rest we'll go ahead and put in our hugel mounds. So let me cut some more of these off. Not all the way in. So then you'll look for other branches that are crossing, and again, this tree is probably one of the best ones that I've pruned over the years. So there aren't a lot of crossed limbs, but the ones that are, like this little small one here, we don't need it. So we're going to cut that, and these are going to go. You can actually throw these on the hugel mound in the middle there, buddy. Remember where the bees were that stung me before?
Yeah.
Okay, get this small one too. So that's it. We're going to just go through and we're going to look for any limbs that are crossing over, any that are at an odd angle, because what you want to do is you want your tree to be open, to have exposure to air, to sunlight. And if you got limbs that are crossing over each other, blocking out the light, blocking out the airflow, they're going to be more susceptible to disease and less likely to give you good fruit. So we got another sucker down here. I'm going to cut these off. These are going to go into our hugel mounds also. And here that doesn't need to be there. And obviously some of the small ones we probably won't take, but we're going to look and see. And this one, even though it's not touching, it's coming off at an odd angle below this one. So we're going to take it off, because as it grows up, it'll grow up into that other branch. So a couple of little small ones here we need to get rid of. But overall, this tree is looking pretty good. And you don't have to be afraid of over pruning your trees. It's actually really hard to over prune. You're more likely to under prune, which we've done many times, than to over prune. So some of these that are close together like this, it's just a judgment call. Do you want limbs this close together? Because another hazard, when the wind's blowing, these start rubbing on each other. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. When the wind starts blowing and these start rubbing against each other, it does more harm to the tree than you coming in and pruning it off. So in a case like this limb and this one, it's just a judgment call. Do you want to keep this one? Do you want to keep this one? I see another limb right here almost directly above it. So I'm going to sacrifice this one for the health of the tree. And again, I'm going to look for this little wrinkled area here. And I'm going to try to cut right above that. So you'll have a little nub on your tree. That's okay. That'll heal up. We'll put the pruning sealer on there, and this tree will be good to go. So, a couple more here. And we're not going to have you guys sit and watch me prune the whole tree or the other fruit trees in the orchard, but you get a general idea. You want your branches to be coming out about 45-degree angle, and you just want it to bush out. So we're going to cut the camera. We're going to go get our other big apple trees, and we may show you a little bit of the one that needed the most pruning, and then we're going to get to work so that we can go in, because it's my day to cook, and I got a recipe I want to get started on before it gets too late. So these two trees really need the major pruning over here in Micro Orchard 1. So a lot of these, and you can see cross branches like here. We've got some suckers down there at the bottom that are leaching moisture. So we're going to cut this one aggressively, and we'll give you this before shot, and then I'll come back for a quick after shot of both trees when we're done. So this one got a decent trim. I could probably trim a few more off of it, but we're going to leave it like that for now, and we're going to move over to the one that really needs the most work. And we don't really have a rhyme or reason for which ones we put in the hugel mound as opposed to saving for smoking, other than bigger branches do better for smoking meat, so we try to keep any that are really big. But you can see this one has a lot of north-south branches. Some of those are gonna have to come off, especially the highest ones, because this one's not bushing out at all. I believe this is a Red Delicious, and yeah, we just got to thin it out aggressively this year. We babied it after the tree fell on it and damaged it, but yeah, now it's time to give it a fresh haircut. So this one's done, and this one's done. Yeah, I cut quite a bit off of it, and I probably could cut some more, but I think that's going to do it for this year. Yeah, I can see a few that probably should be cut off, but yeah, we're going to leave it there for now and see how it produces, and then we will take another look at it next year. And one of our friends on YouTube asked why we put these discs on here, and these are just to flash and to help keep the birds off when the wind's blowing, or if something lands on one of the limbs, it flashes a light which startles them and hopefully keeps them from eating up all our fruit. Nothing's 100% effective. Nothing's 100% effective, but yeah, we get these out of the trash, or we get things that are sent to us in the mail, which we don't get a lot of these, but sometimes we'll get like a package and it'll have the instructions on a CD, and instead of throwing them in the trash, we'll put them on a string, hang them up in the tree, and see if they help keep the birds off. Alright, so we got our apple trees trimmed up back there. We have 4 apple trees over in this area, and we knocked them out. We've got a few cherry trees. Yeah, cherry trees don't need as much, but ideally, well, where I'm at, your apple trees will look somewhat like your cherry trees here, even though it looks like I have one sucker I do need to cut off the cherry tree. But yeah, you want your branches coming out, you want them not crossing over each other, and that helps to produce healthy leaves and healthy fruit. So I think we're about done out here for today. Hopefully I gave you guys a few good tips on pruning your trees. We are not the be-all end-all expert. We've learned a lot from our friends here in the community. In fact, when we put our first apple tree in, one of the channels that I went to look at was Danny over at Deep South Homestead. He was showing how he prunes his up, and a lot of what we do we took from him. We did research on other channels because obviously we're in a different grow zone than they are down, I believe, in Mississippi. So we have to do things a little different up here, but we've got ours done. Hopefully none of these gigantic trees falls and lands on, one tree actually landed on 3 or 4 of our trees when it came down. So hopefully no more come down, especially any of those widow makers up there. But I'm rambling. So we're gonna get in. We're going to get cleaned up, showered. It's a warm day today, so we'll probably check for ticks when we go in. Hopefully we don't have any, but we'll check anyway. And then I'm going to cook dinner, and the meal we do today, we may put out as a short. It was actually inspired by our friend Backyard Edible Garden in Los Angeles. So when we get that out, we'll give her another shout out, a 2-for-1. So as always, this is Rob, the Sapper Gardener, along with my helper, SK1, representing Essayons Family Garden, saying God bless our great country, America. You, wherever you reside around the world, your garden, your harvest, your kitchen, your meals, and especially your family to have health, success, and prosperity during these troubled times. Take care. Sapper out, and
SK1 out.
Louder.
SK1 out.
Take care, everyone. Well. Day 2 of pruning has been postponed due to snow. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Chilly outside. Beautiful but cold. So we'll finish up the fruit trees hopefully next weekend.